The sky turns black over Tel Aviv, not from missiles, but wings. A bad sign, some whisper, others cry doomsday. Yet experts say it's just disturbed flight, not prophecy. In a war of nerves and narratives, one question rises. Are we witnessing an omen or misinformation taking flight? A viral video showing thousands of crows flying in formation over Tel Aviv has triggered widespread speculation online, with some calling it a natural phenomenon and others labeling it a sign of doomsday. The footage, which darkens the skyline over densely populated areas, has rapidly circulated across social media platforms. However, there is no confirmed timeline for when the video was recorded, raising questions about its authenticity and context. The speculation intensified after users drew comparisons to a similar incident in Kyiv in 2023, where large flocks of birds were seen shortly before heavy bombardment during the Russia-Ukraine war. Online narratives quickly escalated. Many social media users commented that this is a bad sign. Some users associated it with the depictions of war and destruction in the Bible, while experts noted that the situation could be natural. Experts, however, reject these interpretations, pointing instead to well-established scientific explanations. Environmental specialists note that in conflict zones, repeated sirens and explosions can disturb bird populations, forcing them into dense, erratic flight patterns. At the same time, seasonal migration and ecological factors frequently lead to large flock formations, particularly in coastal urban regions like Tel Aviv. Analysts also warn of a growing pattern of misinformation, where older footage is recirculated during periods of heightened tension. Reports indicate that similar videos from late 2024 showing large bird flocks over Tel Aviv had previously gone viral, suggesting the current clip may not be recent. Religious interpretations have further amplified the narrative. In Jewish tradition, ravens or orev carry mixed symbolism, associated with impurity and ill omens, but also divine provision. Biblical references, including the story of Noah releasing a raven and passages in Leviticus, reflect this duality. In Middle Eastern cultures, particularly in Islamic traditions and Arabic folklore, crows symbolize betrayal, foolishness, and ill omens rather than direct predictors of death, though their cries near homes can signal misfortune. In Persian and Bedouin lore, crows link to separation or bad luck due to scavenging, with large groups or cries viewed negatively, but not explicitly as death harbingers. However, scholars note there is no doctrinal basis linking mass bird gatherings to imminent catastrophe. Ultimately, experts maintain that the phenomenon is consistent with natural bird behavior, not a precursor to disaster. In a region already on edge, viral imagery can quickly blur the line between perception and reality. But in this case, what appears ominous in the sky may simply be a reminder of how easily fear-not facts can take flight. A stark warning from Tehran is raising tensions across the Gulf. As the war deepens, an Iranian analyst is now openly discussing the possibility of seizing key coastlines in the region, signaling just how far this conflict could expand. Speaking to Iran's national broadcaster IRIB, analyst Morteza Simiari said the country's military is ready to take action if the United States makes what he described as any mistake in the region.
Iran's military is ready to take action if the US makes any mistake in the region. Iran's armed forces are prepared to seize Emirati and Bahraini coasts and fundamentally alter the regional landscape. Entering the coasts of the UAE and Bahrain is on the agenda.
The remarks come days after comments by the UAE Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed denouncing Iranian attacks on the country and stating that it will never be blackmailed by terrorists. His comments were made in response to a wider debate over the UAE's growing cooperation with the United States. presidential advisor Anwar Gargash had earlier highlighted what he described as blatant Iranian aggression against Gulf states, arguing that it has reshaped regional security priorities. Gargash said the evolving threat has made Iran a central concern in Gulf strategic thinking, prompting the UAE to strengthen its security partnerships with Washington. However, this position has drawn criticism from some international observers. Former French ambassador to the United States, Gérard Araud, questioned whether deeper alignment with Washington could entangle Gulf states further in a conflict not of their making. Despite initial efforts by Saudi Arabia and the UAE to dissuade the United States from launching strikes on Iran, recent developments suggest a shift in stance. Both countries are now seen as moving closer to supporting the ongoing military campaign. In recent weeks, Iran has targeted US military bases as well as oil and gas infrastructure across neighboring Gulf countries. The United Arab Emirates has reported intercepting hundreds of incoming threats, including 338 ballistic missiles and 1,740 drones since the start of the conflict. The latest warning from Tehran follows strong condemnation from the UAE. Saudi Arabia is reportedly preparing to grant the United States access to King Fahd Air Base in Taif, while the UAE has indicated it is ready for a prolonged conflict. In a phone call earlier this month, the Emirati foreign minister told his counterpart, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that the UAE is prepared for the war to last up to 9 months. The increasingly assertive rhetoric from Iran, combined with shifting regional alliances, reflects a broader escalation in the conflict. What began as targeted military operations has now expanded into a wider confrontation involving multiple states and strategic interests. Trump called it putting them out of business. Iran has a different word for what comes next. In a significant escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, the Israeli Air Force carried out strikes on a natural gas processing facility in southwestern Iran on March 18th, marking the first time Israel has targeted Iran's natural gas infrastructure. According to 2 senior Israeli officials, the operation hit several facilities within the South Pars gas field, located near the city of Bushehr. Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency confirmed the strikes, reporting that emergency teams were deployed to the scene to contain fires that broke out following the attack. South Pars is not a peripheral target. It is the world's largest natural gas field and the economic backbone of Iran's energy sector, making it one of the most strategically significant sites the Israeli military has ever struck on Iranian soil. What distinguishes this operation from previous Israeli strikes on Iran is the degree of American involvement. Senior Israeli officials stated that the strike was coordinated with and received explicit approval from the Trump administration before it was carried out, a notable departure from earlier tensions between the 2 allies over the scope of Israeli military action inside Iran. That friction came to a head just weeks prior, when the Trump administration objected to Israel's strikes on oil depots in Tehran, urging Jerusalem not to hit energy infrastructure without prior US authorization. The March 18th operation appears to reflect a recalibrated understanding between the 2 governments, one in which Washington is now a willing partner in targeting Iran's economic lifelines. Shortly after reports of the strike emerged, President Donald Trump took to his Truth Social platform with a pointed message.
Remember, for all of those absolute fools out there, Iran is considered by everyone to be the #1 state sponsor of terror. We are rapidly putting them out of business.
Iran's response was swift and pointed. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps issued a warning calling for the evacuation of petrochemical facilities in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. a signal that Tehran may be contemplating retaliatory action against energy assets belonging to its regional rivals and US allies in the Gulf. Iran's state-aligned Tehran Times amplified the threat, publishing warnings directed at energy infrastructure across the same three countries. The developments have sent ripples of concern through the Gulf region, where liquefied natural gas exports, oil terminals, and petrochemical facilities represent the economic foundations of some of the world's wealthiest nations. Qatar, in particular, shares the South Pars field with Iran. The Qatari portion is known as the North Dome, adding a layer of geopolitical complexity to an already volatile situation. Did the UAE sabotage Saudi oil facilities on orders from the United States and Israel? That is the explosive allegation now circulating in the middle of the rapidly expanding Iran war. According to a statement released by the Iraqi Resistance Coordination Council, the group claims it has obtained facts and evidence suggesting that the United Arab Emirates may have been involved in attacks targeting Saudi Arabia's oil infrastructure. The group alleges the move was designed to influence international opinion and escalate pressure against Iran. In its statement, the organization accused the UAE leadership of acting in alignment with what it described as the Zionist American enemy, claiming the alleged sabotage was intended to provoke a wider military response. The UAE has not responded to these accusations, and no independent evidence has so far verified the claims. But the allegations come at a time when Gulf energy infrastructure has become one of the central battlefields of the wider regional conflict. In early March 2026, drones targeted key facilities belonging to Saudi Aramco, including the massive Ras Tanura refinery, the kingdom's largest oil export terminal on the Persian Gulf. The attack came just days after the United States and Israel launched major airstrikes on Iranian targets, triggering a wave of retaliation across the region. On March 2nd, 2 drones approached the Ras Tanura refinery. Saudi air defenses intercepted them before impact, but falling debris ignited a small fire inside the facility. Authorities quickly brought the blaze under control, yet operations at the refinery were temporarily halted as a precaution. The Ras Tanura complex processes roughly 55,000 barrels of crude oil per day and plays a crucial role in global energy markets. Even the brief disruption was enough to send oil prices higher and raise concerns about the security of global energy supplies. Saudi Aramco chief executive Amin Nasser later confirmed that the facility was in the process of restarting operations, but warned that the wider regional situation could have severe consequences if the conflict continues to escalate. The Ras Tanura incident was not an isolated strike. Days later, additional drone threats were reported near Saudi Arabia's Sheba oil field in the Empty Quarter Desert, forcing further defensive measures by Saudi air defenses. Meanwhile, the broader Gulf energy system is already beginning to feel the strain. Industry estimates suggest that nearly 2 million barrels per day of refining capacity across Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Iraq, and Kuwait has been disrupted due to the escalating war. The ripple effects are now spreading through global energy markets, forcing several Asian refineries dependent on Middle Eastern crude to cut output. In this environment of rising attacks, economic disruption and geopolitical suspicion, the allegation that the UAE may have secretly sabotaged Saudi oil infrastructure adds a new and potentially explosive layer to an already volatile conflict. For now, the claims remain unverified, but the fact that such accusations are emerging at all shows just how complex and dangerous the Gulf War has become.